Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie. Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi. Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie. Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington. Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson. Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson. Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
Betty Anderson could never believe that Rodney Harrington is guilty of murder. Now, Betty has decided to back up her belief at great personal risk. She has committed herself to secure background information on Stella Chernak that lies in a file marked confidential.
Lunch, Betty?
No, thanks. I'm counting calories.
Is that it? Or are you avoiding the cafeteria food? Don't forget Dr. Clayton's vacation starts tomorrow. Dr. Soames is taking his calls.
I've made a note of it, Miss Choate.
Good. I'm going to lunch now, Miss Starr.
Been back to see Allison?
I'm going there now.
What happened this morning's a good sign.
I'm glad I was there to catch it.
Well, the coma is obviously less deep, and there's no index as to how long it'll take her to come out of it completely. So if you notice anything else, any eye movements or facial contortions, you let me know right away, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Morton, pick up on extension 23. Dr. Morton.
I forgot something. Oh, Mr. Gary. Mr. Gary, I'm sorry. I forgot to go over the work schedule with you.
Oh, that's all right. I saw the one you posted.
There's been a change. Mrs. Fowler won't be assisting in child therapy.
Oh, I see. Oh, will she be helping in some other department?
Evidently, she won't be coming to the hospital at all for a while.
Well, I'm sorry to lose her. She's very good with the children. I hope she's not ill.
I don't know, really. Miss Anderson took the message from Mr. Fowler. I was wondering, do you know Mrs. Townsend?
No, I don't believe so.
You've probably seen her. She's one of our old reliables. A very capable volunteer, and I'm sure the children would love her.
Fine.
She's scheduled for Ward B this afternoon, but I'll see if I can change things around.
Fine. Everything will work out. Thanks, Miss Choate. I'm sure you understand my concern. When you're dealing with children, you have to be careful.
Well, if I haven't forgotten anything else, maybe I can finally get some lunch.
Yes?
Your luncheon appointment with Mr. Cable.
Oh, yes, I'm just about to leave. Thank you.
Mr. Schuster, excuse me a moment, but would you sign these before you leave? I want to make a deposit on my lunch hour.
Sure.
Mr. Schuster's office. Oh, hello, Elliot. Just a moment. I'll see if he's in. Elliot Carson. He understands that a Mr. Howard Cable is in town, and he's with a firm that specializes in automation. Elliot, I'm sorry that Mr. Schuster's in conference right now. Can I have him call you back? Yes, I know the number of the Clarion. All right, goodbye.
News travels fast.
Well, it was bound to cause speculation. You know, it's quite a responsibility. You and Mr. Cable can affect the future of this entire town.
Well, there's no turning back now. I say that after every step I take, no matter how small. Oh, what did you want me to sign?
The household accounts.
Oh.
Well, I know it's a little more than usual, but Mrs. Schuster wanted to have a chair reupholstered.
Well, Mrs. Schuster left for New York this morning. She won't be back for a while.
Oh.
We both felt that it was in Kim's best interest. Kim had a very bad reaction to the hearing.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So Mrs. Schuster is taking her back to the Wade School. I'm sure with time and proper care, the problem will work itself out.
Yes, I'm sure it will.
Should have told you before.
You don't have to explain anything to me, Mr. Schuster.
Well, I'll be at the end. I don't know how long.
Mr. Schuster, while Mrs. Schuster's away, if there's anything at all that I can do to help, just,
Thank you very much. I may take you up on that.
Do you know where I can find Miss Anderson?
She's on room call, Mr. Gehring.
What room does she have? It's important. I have to talk to her right away.
Do you want me to page her?
No. Just tell me where she is.
Well, let me see. Room 148 through 58.
Thanks. I've been looking for you. Do you have a minute?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead and make your phone call. I can wait that long.
No, the phone call can wait.
Miss Choate said that you took the call from Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Do you remember what he said?
Well, just that Mrs. Fowler wouldn't be working in children's therapy anymore.
Did he say why?
No.
The children are very fond of her. I'd like to be able to tell them why she isn't coming anymore.
Well, all Mr. Fowler said was that she's decided to stop work for a while. Is that unusual?
You mean she won't be coming here at all?
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought she'd been transferred to another department. Is that the June issue? They have an interesting article on water therapy. Do you mind if I borrow it?
No, this is the August issue, not the June.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Stephen Core, please. Hello, Stephen. I want to see you. Will you be in your office? Well, I don't know, just as soon as I can. Good. Miss Anderson. May I have the keys to the library, please? I don't have them.
Do you know anybody who does?
No. Would you excuse me, please? I'm on room call.
Doctor, I can't seem to locate the keys to the library. Dr. Rossi.
Hmm? Why, did you have a nice lunch?
Did they, ever name a hurricane after you?
Hurricane? I don't think so.
Well, if the Weather Bureau could see this room, Hurricane Michael would be the first big one to blow in out of the Bahamas.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was working.
Oh, well, you have a point.
Did you ever know Professor Tobin?
What?
You ever know a Professor Matthew Trovan at the Foley Institute. You were there, weren't you?
For a while.
How much contact did you have with him?
Why?
Well, I was just reading his article in this journal. It's one of the best I ever read.
Oh. Yes, I knew him.
Stella, you become more and more invaluable to me every day.
I'm almost afraid to ask why. Why?
Well, he's done some statistical research on certain blood types, correlation of blood grouping and blood diseases. But he hasn't put any of his findings in here. He holds that they were inconclusive.
Well, Professor Tobin's been doing research along those lines for quite a while now.
Well, why on earth didn't you mention it?
Well, you yourself said the findings were inconclusive. I didn't think they'd be of any value to you.
Well, we won't be able to tell that until we've seen the figures. You know where the scissors are?
Scissors? I did know where they were. It was before you came in.
How well did you know him?
Professor Tobin?
Mm-hmm.
Just slightly.
Know him well enough to write him for the information?
Me?
You?
Why me?
Well, because you know him and I don't.
Michael, I am only your assistant.
Well, still, you could write him a friendly little letter. Renewing old acquaintances and a slip in the request, extremely clever. With something like, a funny thing happened to me in Peyton Place. I ran across this doctor.
No, Michael, really.
Well, you wouldn't have to change the truth at all.
I really would rather not.
Why?
I just think it would have much more weight coming from you.
Well, you know, a request from someone you've known is better than a formal request from a total stranger.
I barely know him.
Well, it was just a thought.
Mike, it's personal.
All right, we'll forget about it.
I mean, it's not something that I can chat about over coffee and cake.
Stella, we weren't chatting about it. I asked you for a professional favor, and I'm sorry if I stepped on your toes.
Look, Mike, this is something that we deal in every day. It's chemistry. When certain elements don't blend, they separate. Sometimes they even explode. I mean, you could hear Professor Tobin and me all over the Institute. I wouldn't want your relationship to get off on the wrong foot.
Thank you for being honest.
Mike, if you do write him, I think it would be best if you didn't mention me at all.
All right.
I'm going to hunt up another pair of scissors. This time with a long chain.
You give me Miss Choate's office, please. Hello, is Miss Choate there? Well, no. Does she keep all the personnel records of the employees of the hospital there in her office? Well, fine. No, I'll talk to her when she comes back. see me?
Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
What'll it be?
A very dry martini.
One dry martini. Make it two. And here's with an onion.
Why, you have an extraordinary memory, Leslie. How are you?
Just fine. And what, if I may ask, a facetious question brings an efficiency expert to Peyton Place? Free lunch on David Schuster's expense account. Well, I guess the kind of changeover Schuster has in mind does require your expert opinion. When are you getting down to specifics?
Oh, I haven't even been out to the mill yet.
But you have read Schuster's report.
Yes.
Couldn't you be a little more cooperative, Howard? You know I'm trying to pump you.
Did I hear my name being dropped?
Mr. Schuster?
Yes, you must be Howard Cable.
Well, I'm glad to know you.
How do you do? Mr. Harrington?
Can I buy you a drink?
No, I think our table's ready.
I was just asking Howard about your plans for the changeover at the mill. I hope you don't mind my curiosity.
Not at all. I think everyone in Peyton Place is curious about it.
I can imagine in a one-industry town. You know, when I was in northern Italy, I went through the Brischino mills in a little town just outside Torino. They were in the middle of a changeover, and Signor Brischino was concerned about the lame duck aspect of the situation. The workers who were left knew they were on borrowed time, and production was suffering.
Very interesting. I take it your trip to Europe wasn't just a casual tour.
Unfortunately, no.
Shall we eat?
I'm game.
Good to see you, Mr. Harrington.
Fine, fine. I'm here at the inn, Howard. If you're staying in town, maybe we could have a drink.
Fine.
Could I have the telephone, please?
Certainly, Mr. Harrington.
Hello, operator. This is Leslie Harrington. I'd like to make a call to Philadelphia. Yes, make it person to person. I'll take it in my room. Oh, yes, that's Jackson 99989 to Mr. Kenneth Markham. Markham Enterprises, Philadelphia. Yes, thank you.
Let me put it this way. What would the guilty man do? The fellow who has no defense and cannot win within the bounds of the law.
Well, he'd take the stand and proclaim his innocence.
He'd shout it with passion, like you want to do.
And nobody'd believe him.
They'd believe him momentarily, but a passionate speech is a lawyer's dream. Nothing easier to discredit. Due process is on our side, Rod. It's slow sometimes, but it's worked effectively for several hundred years now.
Not for Elliot Carson.
The truth can be concealed. I'm not denying that. But crimes can't be committed in a vacuum. There are always other people. And there's always a flaw in the facts somewhere. If you probe those other people deep enough. Yes. Come in, Betty. Did you read it? We're hauling this together.
Well, I did better than read it. I brought it.
Betty, you didn't have to take it from the hospital.
It's 3 pages long, and I couldn't memorize it. Only you know what's important in it.
Well, you're impossible. In a totally marvelous way, you're impossible. I didn't expect this. Thank you.
Would I be stepping out of line if I asked what's going on?
Betty got me Stella's personnel file.
You what?
I borrowed it.
I needed to discredit Stella's testimony. I need this information.
But, I mean, couldn't it be gotten another way?
We could have subpoenaed it. Fowler would have objected. Then we'd have a hearing. Then I'd have to tell them why I wanted it. Then I'd get it. But if we subpoenaed it, Stella would know. That's what I want to avoid. The hearing would give her time to alter the information in contempt of court. But she's already perjured herself, so that probably wouldn't bother her. If she's as tough as I think, she'll just have an answer ready for every possible question I can dig out. You see, to discredit her testimony, Rod, I have to find out everything about her, and then find the flaw, and then surprise her with it.
I don't like it.
Do you like the prospect of facing her testimony with nothing more than your passionate and self-incriminating plea of innocence?
You took a big chance. Why'd you do it? Your job's on the line, you know.
It's important information that Stephen needs.
Betty. I'm going to meet my dad in a few minutes. I'd better be going.
See you tomorrow, Rod.
What's that all about?
A simple thank you is hardly adequate. In my opinion, the machine is going to be the downfall of the human race.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
What are you suggesting? I'm inclined to take people at their face value.
Only some people. It's a bad habit, Doctor. It could be dangerous.
You know, Rodney were drowning and somebody tried to pull him out. He'd asked to see his life-saving badge.
Your impression.
You've always insisted, and quite rightly, that the people we hire to work at this hospital be of good character. Circumstances are a luxury we cannot afford to consider.